Hi everyone, welcome. It's Cross Conversations with me, Andrea La Peña, the space where we get to learn together about different characters in the Bible, inspiring stories to help us get through these day-to-day things and trials that we have to endure. Just remember, keep the faith, stay strong in God. If you don't know how to stay strong in God, we're all here to learn. And today, I'd like to talk about Jacob and who he was and how I'm inspired by him and hope to share that same inspiration with you. I'm going to do it in different parts because Jacob's story, Jacob's life is very long to explain. So let's start with Jacob was a twin. His twin brother's name was Esaú. They were the sons of Isaac and Rebekah. While the twins were still in their mother's womb, the Bible tells us that they jostled so much that Rebekah sought out guidance from the Lord. And that's when God revealed to her that she was carrying two nations and that the two would be divided. One would be stronger than the other. Esaú, being the firstborn, held the birthright to their father's blessing, a significant privilege in those times. We can look at this story unravel beginning in Genesis chapter 25. When the time came for the twins to be born, Esaú was delivered first, meaning he was the firstborn. He was the older brother, even though they were twins. Esaú it was noted that he had a reddish complexion and he was covered in hair. It resembled something of a garment, the Bible tells us. It's details that will become more significant later. Jacob followed immediately, grasping Esau's heel as he emerged, which is how he earned the name Jacob. In Hebrew, the name Jacob, Yaakov, is derived from the root word akeb, meaning heel. We'll learn as we get to know more people in the Bible that the naming was sometimes very literal to the location or the family, something, or what they were doing with God. That's how they would get their names. Esaú grew to become a skillful hunter. He was a man of the open country. The Bible states this in Genesis 25:27. It also states that Jacob was content to stay home among the tents. Their father Isaac had a taste for wild game, so he favored Esaú because of his hunting skills, while his wife Rebekah had a special love for Jacob. One day, as Jacob was cooking stew, Esaú returned from the fields exhausted and famished, and this dude was desperate for food. Esaú demanded that Jacob give him some of the stew. However, Jacob was quick-witted and sly. He replied and told his brother, "First, sell me your birthright." Esaú, seemingly dramatic, maybe indifferent, but he exclaimed, "I'm about to die. What good is a birthright to me?" Jacob still insisted, though. He's like, "Esaú, swear on an oath." And in that moment, Esaú did sell his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob served his brother. It's crazy to me that he sold his birthright for a bowl of stew. I feel like it's extremely relatable, though, and we'll see as the story unravels and what we can get from this. When Isaac grew old and believed his death was near, he called for his eldest son, Esaú. He instructed him to go and hunt wild game and prepare a meal just the way that Isaac liked it. Isaac explained that he wanted to bless Esaú before the Lord while he still could. He was uncertain how much longer he would have to live. Rebekah, his wife, overheard their conversation, so she quickly called her son Jacob. She instructed Jacob to go and bring her 2 choice goats so she could prepare a meal that Isaac would enjoy, allowing Jacob to present it to his father and receive the blessing instead of Esaú. However, Jacob hesitated, expressing concern that his smooth skin would betray him since Esaú was hairy. This is where I said the whole hairy garment of a newborn child. Now it comes into play because even though Isaac's eyesight had grown poor, Jacob feared his father might touch him, realize the deception, and curse him instead of blessing him, insisting he followed her plan and promising, or maybe not promising, but just saying that any curse would fall on her and not him. Goodness gracious, this part of the story takes a rather amusing turn, in my opinion. After Jacob brought the 2 choice goats, Rebekah prepared the meal exactly as Isaac liked. Then, to complete the deception, she covered Jacob's hands and neck with goat skins and dressed him in Esau's clothes to mimic his brother's scent and texture. Complete foolishness, in my opinion, of course. But, the Bible is full of humans. Humans are flawed. And guess what? We're humans. So there goes Jacob disguised as Esaú, and he brought his meal to his father. When Isaac asked who was there, Jacob lied, claiming it's me, Esaú. Suspicious of how quickly his son had returned from hunting, Isaac asked how it was possible. Jacob unfortunately lied again, saying that God had granted him success. Still uncertain, Isaac asked his son to come closer so he could touch him and confirm it was truly Esaú. I would kind of be scared if it was me, but that is me. I get really fearful with things because I know how God even knows my thoughts. So by saying, yeah, God helped me, go and hunt and get this game quickly. But nonetheless, he did so. Suspicious of how quickly his son had returned from hunting, Isaac asked how it was possible. Jacob lied again, saying that God had granted him success. I would have been too scared to use God's name in that context by lying to my dad about a blessing that he's getting ready to give me. But Jacob did. So the story goes on. Isaac was still not sure, so he asked his son to come closer so he could touch him and confirm it was truly Esaú. To me, this request suggested that Isaac was a perceptive and intuitive man, and he may have suspected something was amiss. Perhaps maybe he was aware of Rebekah and Jacob's scheming nature. Isaac even commented that the voice sounded like Jacob's, but the hairy hands felt like Esaú. Reassured by the touch, Isaac continued. He asked again, "Are you really my son, Esaú?" Jacob lied again. It's like he kept giving him opportunities to come clean, but he didn't. Again, Jacob said yes. Isaac then ate the meal and drank the wine that Jacob had brought. Finally, Isaac asked for a kiss. When Jacob leaned in, Isaac smelled his clothes, noting they carried the scent of the open field. At that moment, Isaac was convinced and unknowingly blessed the wrong son. Esaú was consumed with bitterness and anger. He said to himself that once their father Isaac had passed, he would kill his brother Jacob. When Rebekah learned of Esau's intentions, she warned Jacob and urged him to flee to her brother Laban in Haran. When your brother's fury has subsided, I will send word for you to return, Rebekah assured her son. Then Rebekah went to Isaac and gave her concern about Jacob marrying a woman from the local Canaanite people. She subtly planted the idea in Isaac's mind that Jacob should marry someone from her family instead. Isaac agreed and instructed Jacob not to marry a Canaanite woman, but to go to his mother's relatives and take a wife from the daughters of Laban, Rebekah's brother. Before Jacob departed, Isaac blessed him, telling him to be fruitful and increase in number until he became a great community of peoples. He also passed on the blessing of Abraham, praying that God would fulfill his promise through Jacob's descendants and grant them possession of the land where Isaac now lived as a foreigner, the land God had promised to Abraham. Jacob's story doesn't end here, but there are several lessons we can take away so far. First, every action has consequences. Seen here in the effects of favoritism toward Esaú led division and conflict within their family. This highlights the destructive power of dishonesty and partiality. It reminds us the importance of fostering honesty, trust, and fairness within our relationships, especially with family. I could even include especially with our enemies. Esau's impulsiveness in trading his birthright for a meal serves as a cautionary tale about the danger of prioritizing immediate gratifications over lasting blessings. I think that fits all of us. Maybe not. It does me for sure. On the other hand, Jacob's cunning approach to securing the birthright and blessing shows that ambition and decision-making must be grounded in integrity. The story teaches us to value integrity, avoid favoritism and impulsive choices, and prioritize reconciliation and forgiveness. Above all, it reassures us that God's plans are greater than our mistakes. I, for one, am glad to know that. No matter our flaws, transformation and redemption are always possible through God's guidance. Here's some examples that we can slip in, or that I've slipped into, for instant gratification. We choose to spend money impulsively on non-essential items or saving for long-term goals like buying a home, paying off debt, etc. We can opt for fast food or unhealthy snacks for immediate satisfaction instead of preparing meals. We can skip regular exercise in favor of leisure or entertainment. We can enter into a rushed or unhealthy relationship because of loneliness. We can procrastinate on studying. That's me. A lot of them are me, but oh my goodness. Or we could settle for a quick, easy job. We can rely on unethical practices like lying, cheating, or cutting corners to achieve immediate success. Pursuing material possessions, status, or fleeting pleasures at the expense of prioritizing eternal blessings, not the smartest things that we do. The list can go on and on. I've been guilty on all accounts. The temptation for instant gratification is a common human struggle, but let's try to remember and put our focus on patience, discipline, and trust in God's timing. Waiting for a greater blessing often requires faith, but the rewards are far more meaningful and enduring. That's it for the first part of Jacob. We shall continue to get to know more about our young deceitful fella.